Nerdiest Prime.
Counsellor Troi is pregnant. She is going to have a baby.
Baby? This is a surprise?
More so for me.
But who's the father?
And Riker's like asking inappropriate questions like, who's the daddy? Like, what does that matter? Like, really? Is that your business?
Who is the father?
He seemed really jealous like the whole time. It's like, that should be my baby.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Listen, if that baby has
I even got the beard now. I'm like, why won't you let me make a baby with you?
Hi, and welcome to Nerdiest Prime, where we are reviewing every episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, and we are finally at Season 2 after 2 years. And
it's been a long time.
Season 2, Episode 1, The Child. The second season limps out of the gate with this repurposed script from the abandoned 70s reboot of Star Trek that wouldn't have even made a good episode of that show if it had seen the light of day at that time. After picking up their new ship's doctor, Captain Kolaski, who instantly ruffles feathers by not reporting for duty with the card, and later is rude and condescending to our dear Data, the Enterprise is to transport some dangerous virus strains because a ship full of civilians and children is a perfect candidate to move a deadly plague from point A to point B. But, a curious alien looking to experience life as a human fixed this exact time to come aboard and force its way into Counsellor Troi's uterus. And wouldn't you know, it's radioactive and starts causing the virus to mutate and threatening all life on board. Talk about bad timing. Or amateur writing. Troi's baby boy, Ian, is born super fast, like most sci-fi TV babies, because no one has 9 months to wait for a quack device to arrive. Troi suffers no ill effects from the rapid physical changes. It is back to her slim, attractive body almost immediately after giving birth. Ian grows into an 8-year-old within hours and is busy playing with puppies while everyone else is losing their minds thinking that they are all going to die soon if the virus breaks out of containment. They learn quickly that Ian is the reason for the mutations from his radiation emissions, and the alien decides it must leave to protect everyone on board after learning as much as possible about love and second-degree burns. Troi and the crew are sad after he disappears out the window, but we, as an audience, are not, because there is absolutely no earned emotional payoff with his weak story and script. And to pad out this thin brock of an episode, we have a subplot about Wesley contemplating his future and wanting to stay aboard, even though his mom is now working at Starfleet HQ and getting advice from the Enterprise bartender, Guinan, about what to do with his life. In the end, Wesley is allowed to remain on board if his mom is okay with it, and Worf agrees to make sure he gets tucked into bed each night, which is the only scene from this episode we really would love to see, but was sadly not filmed.
So we are at The Child being the first episode of the second season. Let's start with our first impressions. Let's start with Namir.
The Child. First of all, let me say how happy I am that we're at season 2 finally. It feels like we've reviewed this episode before. Like I feel like I've watched it like 3 or 4 times in preparation, but now we're actually getting to talk about it, which is great.
Yeah, because we were gonna review it like months ago, and then we got sidetracked with the 30th anniversary of all good things, and then the 40th anniversary of Star Trek 3.
Many anniversaries.
Many anniversaries this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So first impressions, like a lot of the early Star Trek Next Generation, I remember not liking a lot of the episodes, but on rewatch, I realized it wasn't as bad as I thought. And it's the same thing with The Child. So when I first watched it, I was like, I don't know about this. This kind of, isn't that great? But I watched it again. I was like, I really kind of enjoyed it. There's a couple of parts of the episode where, I had some issues with, but for the most part, I thought it was pretty good.
Okay, I'm just going to ignore everything you just said. Alan.
Also, I off topic, that will probably have to get cut out, but Namir's light reflecting his glasses is really distracting.
Oh, is
it's
it?
like
Wait.
Big green,
I see.
It's like big green circles in your lenses.
Let me align it so it's like over my
now
pupils.
it looks like you have like X-ray specs from like the...
Wait, maybe
Yeah,
I
or
can.
from the
Hang
back
on,
of a comic book.
I got an idea. Hang on. When I do this, I'll just move it up. I don't know how people do it then. Like, how are you supposed to do it? How are
I'm
you?
just
How do
bouncing my desk
YouTubers?
lamp off my white wall. I don't
How do
know.
I YouTube again?
But first of all, do you need those glasses to see? It's
Okay,
like
I
a
can take them
beard.
off.
It's like your beard. It's like
Yeah,
I
I
don't
can
have
take
to
them
have
off.
it. I don't
I
have
can
to
take them
have this
off.
beard.
Or I can do this. Maybe I can do that.
Oh, I don't know. That's too sexy.
Okay, there we go.
And make it so.
Okay.
Ugh.
So I'm actually with Namir on this one because I believe I gave this one kind of a hard time, in our pre-review chats. But I watched it and actually had a good time. I know I've probably watched it twice now, like you say, in anticipation of doing this review over the last several months. But I watched it and I'm like, I don't know if I have a whole lot of problems with this one. It's actually, a pretty solid episode with, like you say, there's some issues with some of the pacing and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's a step up. It's you watch this and you see that there's a step up from the first season right out of the gate. So yeah, it wasn't
Well,
bad.
there are a lot of good things about this episode, but considering that we're into season 2, and I'm expecting a better level of episodes, this episode, certainly in terms of the writing, is worse than even most episodes of season 1. But we'll get into that.
Is it though?
I don't agree with
I
that.
don't.
Okay, well, let's talk about this right away. So there's a good plot here. So the basic there's like 2 stories. There's an ABC plot. I guess the A plot is Troy getting pregnant with some mystery child, some from God or something, and then there's them transporting viruses, and then there's Wesley deciding that he wants to stay on board. I love the Wesley wanting to stay on board. I haven't got no problems with that. It's there's not a lot of it, but it's really
I
good.
think you missed the storyline, which is Pulaski.
Oh, and Pulaski coming on board. Well, there's a whole segment of like everybody's promotions and new people and all that sort of stuff, which kind of ties into this Wesley deciding to stay on board as well. Is that okay? That I just reframed your correction?
I mean, I'm still correct, so it's fine.
So so the thing with the child of the child and the virus transportation thing is that they're both like kind of half plots that don't kind of really go anywhere, and that's really my problem with it, because just kind of in terms of the story is interesting, but it just kind of switched. It's just like there's a kid shows up, the Troy's pregnant, and then nothing really happens, and then the viruses they go out of control, and then the kid, we got to get rid of the kid, and the kid leaves, and that's it. There's no real progression. You don't really hear or understand anything about the kid or where he comes from or why he's there or why this is important, or and the virus plot is also like, it could have been really exciting. They really built up the stakes but didn't deliver on anything. So anyways, what do you guys think? Let's go to Nimir again.
Well, I just don't think it's that kind of episode. Like, I think it's just supposed to be a very low key.
It's not a good episode. Is that what you're saying?
No, I just mean like it's not like a really intense, adventurous, high drama episode. I think it's just an episode that wants to reintroduce the show because there's been so many changes, and this is like the first episode of the season. Was the clip show in this season or the last episode of last season?
The last episode of this season coming out.
Oh, it's the last episode of this season. Oh, I totally
We haven't reviewed that one yet.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait. So I think as an intro, as a way to get new viewers and to reintroduce the Enterprise and the show to an audience, it really does a good job, right? And I think that was kind of the purpose of it. It's a really good first episode. Like, you can't have like a like a conspiracy type episode with a lot of action and, you know, uh, as a first episode to the season, because you need to explain things, right? You need to reintroduce the dynamics, and there's so many new characters. Well, I guess there's only two new characters, but they're major characters, and there's a lot of changes, right? So I get it. They had to make space for all of that, and given all of these things that they had to do in this episode, I think they did a really good job. Like everyone, you know, uh, is great. They're on character. There's drama. There's some really like emotional tension, and it resolves itself really well. And it's a good sci-fi plot. So, and I agree with you. Like the first time I watched this episode, I was kind of on your wavelength, Lucas, where I was like, oh, this really sucks, right? This doesn't feel like a whole episode. But when I watched it again, I was like, okay, I get what they're doing. It's very cinematic. Like when you watch it, it feels like you're almost watching a movie. The first shot is the Enterprise and the Repulse, and there's this huge sweeping score behind it, and lots of like moving camera angles, and you know, it really, really works well. So I disagree kind of with everything that you just said, and I'm taking the opposite opinion, where I actually think this is a good episode. The more I talk about it, the more I'm convincing myself that it's better than I thought. It's actually really good.
Okay, Alan.
Well, again, so just I guess a little background here too that we haven't went over with is that this is a script from the Phase 2 series that was abandoned in the 70s. So this is like one of 2 episodes of Next Generation that they adapted those scripts to. The second one being Devil's Due in season 4, which is a superior episode of the 2. I find there's like a real, like, because I believe the original script was like Ilea and Decker versus Troi and Riker and the Child and all that. So they just kind of like took that script because of the writer's strike at the time, just kind of plopped in the Next Generation characters names and did a little few revisions, and this is what we got. But it seems like they might have spent some more money on like effects for this one, because like you say, the opening was really cinematic. We had like you say, you saw the ships, you had that shuttle bay launch. Like it looks like they visually spent more money because I guess they didn't have to buy it. They had a reused script. But at the same time, it didn't really seem like season premiere material. Whereas I would put like next week's, Where Silence Has Lease, as a more exciting episode for like the purposes of starting a season off with a bang.
Well, it's interesting because this episode is the Superman the movie of the season 2. Where Superman the movie kind of, it's like the plot is whatever. It's just setting up everything so that you can watch Superman 2. You know, and and in the setup of this episode, I agree with everything you guys are saying. You got that great shot of the Repulse. Then you introduce the shuttle bay for the first time. I think we've never seen the shuttle bay before, and you see the type. No, you saw the type that type of shuttlecraft in the first season, but you see the shuttle bay. And my favorite thing is, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the first shot on the bridge is this amazing crane shot where it starts on Data's hands, swoops over Worf in the horseshoe thing, then kind of goes around Riker and then ends up on the other side beside Crusher, Wesley Crusher. And I read up about this, and the director, asked for that crane shot and extra money to do it, and they were willing to put extra money into this episode because they were like, oh yeah, it's the first season. They want people to watch it. And I just love how in that first minute and 15 seconds, you're introducing the new shuttle bay. You're introducing Riker has a beard suddenly. You're introducing Worf with the new sash and his new uniform, Wesley with his uniform, and then Geordi's the chief engineer. And I love how they are really in the episode. They're really acknowledging, LaForge's promotion, that Dr. Crusher is gone, that Dr. Pulaski's there. Like really, they could have really done like everybody's just there, and we're not even going to talk about it. But I like that they did that.
Yeah, everything. I
Yeah,
find everything just looks better in this episode when compared to season one. Like the lighting or just the cinematography, like everything just looks better. Like, I mean, we're not quite there yet. I feel like season 3 is when everything looks fantastic, but it's definitely this has a better, it just all around has a better feel. Like it looks better. It's just too bad to still have the shitty uniforms from season 1, but. if they had the season 3 uniforms, I feel like visually the show would be firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, if Picard had his little jacket, it'd be perfect. But that's the thing that I find about TNG is that visually it's always looked better than almost any of the other Star Trek shows of that era, like Deep Space Nine, Voyager. For some reason, TNG has always had this cinematic kind of look to it. I don't know if it's the lighting or the way they compose their shots, but it's always felt different. And with this episode, you can really see it. You're like, oh yeah, that's definitely TNG. Even everything in 10 Forward, it all looks so good.
I wonder if that's because it's kind of like a copy of a copy of a copy when you get to the Berman era Star Trek, as opposed to TNG really came out of the Star Trek movies, the aesthetic. So they kind of took the aesthetic from the movies in the 80s and they kind of updated it a little bit, but they kind of based everything on that, like the new ships and the new, even the way they shot the TV show. And in some ways, the Star Trek movies were influenced a lot from Star Wars in terms of the kind of worn kind of quality of it. And then when you get to Deep Space Nine and Voyager, they're like, Deep Space Nine is copying Next Generation, and Voyager's copying Deep Space Nine and Next Generation. So you start getting this like weird aesthetic choices, like the Bajoran uniforms with the weird boots and the Cardassian station. Like it's like, I know what they're kind of trying to do, but it just doesn't.
I don't know. I always felt like Deep Space Nine had its own unique look when it comes to Next Generation, and Voyager too. I always thought they stood apart.
I don't disagree with you. I think they do have their unique looks. I just don't think that they're very good. Right? Like the thing about TNG is that it feels warm. Like it feels lived in. It feels real.
Really?
Like,
that's what I always thought it seemed. I always felt like TNG felt like an 80s mall. Like there's always like benches in the hallways and plants and stuff. And it's so brightly lit and it's like neutral colors, like a lot of beige and salmon colored stuff.
It's like
me
the
too.
Best thing ever.
And then,
in what other show would you find like wood paneling on your bridge?
Well, you wouldn't. Like that's why I think Next Generation has such a unique look. But you get to Voyager and it feels more like a standard science fiction where it's like sleek, metallic, grays, and all the later ones are the same way. But yeah, Next Generation just has a very unique look. Like you wouldn't see that in any other science fiction show, really. Even the Orville, where it tried to emulate that style, still feels like, it doesn't have that, like I said, like an 80s food court looking.
Okay, let's get us back on track. Let's talk about the introduction of Dr. Pulaski, 10 Forward, and Guinan, because that all happens kind of in the same scene.
I don't like Pulaski. I know everyone else. I know Namir loves Pulaski, and she does get better towards the end. But it always bugs me that she treats Data like and is always like belittling him and kind of dismissing him, and it's like, and he's like a child, like, and she's just a bully to him, and it always bugged me. It's like, oh, if you got feelings, did I hurt your feelings because I called you Data? It's like that scene is what put me off from Pulaski. I'm like, you're being an asshole.
But in defense of her and her character, I think that's the point, right? Like she's supposed to be their version of Bones, right? And Data is their version of Spock, right? So they start with that sort of antagonistic kind of relationship, which is great because that means that they have a place to grow, right? They have a place to kind of grow as characters and have that understanding. Like Beverly
Yeah,
Crusher is just kind of there.
but
Like
but but
it's not until like actually Picard when she starts to actually get really interesting as a character. But
but
for her
Spock and
entire like
Bones
in the
already have a
movies,
relationship,
yeah, exactly. But so
so
what would
they have
happen
that
if we
kind of
saw
like,
their yeah, but what would happen if we saw that relationship from the beginning? And I think that's what they were trying to do with Data and Pulaski. And she's not like she's just I think she's very scientific, right? She looks at things in as sort of like she interrogates things. She does this with Picard too. Like she stands up for herself. She questions things.
Data, look at this.
Data.
What?
My name. It is pronounced Data.
Oh?
You called me Data.
What's the difference?
but I feel
That's
like you
why
get
she's
to
kind
a
of
point
cool.
you get a point in a relationship. I don't feel like you start off by bullying someone. If you have a long-term friendship, then you start egging people on and kind of giving playful teasing and stuff. And that's what I felt with Spock and Bones. But she's like right out of the gate being a jerk to Data. Like she doesn't know him, and she's just treating
Well,
him like a machine. But I mean,
Well, but she
by the
doesn't
time we
know
get to
that.
the end of the season and peak performance, and like when he's doing his game, and like by that time at the end of the season, I feel better about Pulaski. But right now, as of this being my introduction to her, not knowing what comes, like I don't like her. Like
Yeah, but that's great. That's what you want. Like you want her to develop as a character, right? Like you want her to change in terms of her views about Data, because that's the whole thing about Data, right? Data's always trying to convince everybody that he's basically human, right? But nobody else believes him until you get to know him, right? And that's sort of that's the same thing that's happening here, right? Like she's just like you're just a machine, but he's telling her that he's not, and over time she realizes that.
well, I realized what they were trying to do, and I think Alan's right. Obviously, they were trying to do Dr. McCoy, like a female Dr. McCoy, and I think the problem is in the writing and in the acting, because I think she does come off as very harsh to Data in that scene, and it always like bugs me. It's like, man, she's really mean to him, and the thing is, meanness comes out of some sort of sense of prejudice and not understanding, and it seems kind of out of character for a Starfleet officer. And McCoy was, McCoy and Spock actually really respected each other. They just kind of like were two ends of a different spectrum, or the two ends of the spectrum. So they would clash because they had different ways of looking at something, but they really respected each other. With
I don't feel like Pulaski respects Data at all.
Well, she doesn't even think that he's worthy of respect because he's a machine. She thinks of him as a tricorder. And even when he's obviously showing some sort of something, she's like being like mean about it. So unless we're supposed to believe that she actually, respects him and likes him and is just kind of giving him a hard time. If that, that could be an interpretation, but it's not what it feels like when I see the scene.
No, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't have a problem with that, is what I'm saying. I like just in terms of the character and the writing, I think that's really interesting. It would seem strange to me if she was already really nice to Data and thought that Data was already kind of self-aware. Because I think conceptually, like the idea around Data is that you don't really understand how human he is until you meet him and talk with him, right? Like the rest of Starfleet does not believe that, right? Like it's only the people that are close to him that understand that he's not just a machine.
She's like that first officer in Redemption Part 2, who all listen to Data is like thinks Data is just like a bunch of machine. It's just like a
Exactly. Like that's why like it would just seem off to me if she was already like, oh, you're obviously alive, right? He's a machine. Like nobody's gonna think that unless they already know somehow. So it kind of rang true to me, and that made her interesting. Like that conflict and that sort of like push and pull between the two of them. It's a good relationship.
Well, I find it interesting how, especially nowadays, where identity is such an important thing to for people in the culture, and I just can just imagine like she's basically it's like Data is kind of like a trans person, and Dr. Pulaski is like an old person,
Dr.
and
Pulaski
he
is J.K. Rowling.
and he's like, and when he leaves, she's like, goodbye, Data, whatever. And it's just, it's like, him, her, they, whatever. Like, it's the same kind of like, no, he has a name. He told you what his name was. He told you how to pronounce it. It's not whatever. It really pisses me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it pisses you guys off because you really like Data. I mean, Data.
Yeah,
No,
we
wait,
do.
sorry.
We do
Whatever.
love Data. Everybody loves Data, and she's being mean to him. So therefore, she's the enemy.
She's like a child. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like other things about her as the show progressed, but in this show, she's a little too gruff. But having said that, I do like the actor who plays her. I just don't like how the character is written. And what do you guys think about introduction of 10 Forward and Guinan? Because Guinan, you kind of see her in two parts. You see her at the beginning when she tells Picard where Pulaski is, but then there's that nice scene that she has with Wesley with also has that cool like warp effect. Alan.
Yeah, I like Guinan. The introduction was fine. I actually say it was basically a C plot, so there wasn't a whole lot there I didn't find. But I mean, obviously, Guinan goes on, and she's a great character. The introduction and Wesley's kind of, thinking about what he wants to do. I wasn't super invested in. It just seemed like they had to throw something in there for Wesley to do, and it was already kind of a stuffed episode. But having a nice, a cool new set. I was like, there's some nice effects there. Especially from the exterior when Wesley's like looking at the window. I like that shot. Like I like all the cool shots they did in this. Obviously, say they had extra budget because it's the premiere episode. But yeah, I mean, Whoopi Goldberg's great in the role. I think I liked her better, when in Q Who later on. Do we see her again until Q Who? Is there any? Anyway, that's when I really enjoyed Guinan, when she confronts Q and all that. And you see that kind of mysterious background.
She does that weird finger thing.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. They're like, what is that?
But like here, it's like it was fine. The introduction was fine, but it didn't grab me.
All right, let's go to Namir now.
It's tough to say, because we've watched these episodes so many times that it's hard to remember what it felt like to see 10 Forward and Guinan for the first time. Like I always forget that 10 Forward's not in the first season, right? I'm just like, oh yeah, that's right, this is new, like it just feels like it's always been there. And it's kind of the same with Guinan, right? You're just like, okay, it's the first introduction of this character, but you already know everything about her from subsequent episodes, so it doesn't feel like that. But I think, in terms of how they introduced her, I think they did it well. It just kind of felt natural. It wasn't a big reveal. She just kind of like, I think Picard walks in and then she's like off camera and then she just kind of goes, whoop, and she's there. You're like, oh yeah, she was always there behind the bar.
It must have been something, to see Whoopi Goldberg just show up out of nowhere, back in the 80s. Oh yeah, it's like she's a, famous actress or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know how famous she was.
Exactly.
I think she was in Ghost after this and won the Oscar and all that. But
yeah, well, I think she was in The Color Purple around this time as well.
The Color Purple,
right? So she was huge. Like she was a huge star. So it was amazing that she was actually on this show.
And you love her zany hats. There's always
yeah. And she does great, and she's got that great scene with Wesley, which I actually really like. I thought that's a nice kind of coming of age sort of scene. They do really well. You get a sense of what he wants to do, and you get a sense of immediately get who she is, right? Like she's like the sage, right? She's like the mentor.
She's Yoda.
Barkeep.
She's Yoda. Yeah, exactly. She's Yoda, and you're like, in that scene, you understand it, and she's mysterious, right? Because Wesley's like, who is she? Where's she from? did she meet Picard on the Stargazer? And she's like, no, I haven't. I didn't meet him until I came on board. And you're like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think it speaks volumes the fact that, even the way you guys are talking about that, it doesn't seem like the first episode because it seems so everybody's just introduced so naturally. And I think it says a lot about how the writing and the acting has progressed from season 1 to season 2. Because if this was a season 1 episode, it would be like, hello, this is 10 forward. No one has this in the whole fleet. Look, it's Guinan. They would have just really made an awkward, whole exposition about it. And right now, the way that it was written and the acting is very naturalistic. It's just like, Guinan's always been there. And the fact that basically the first episode feels like Guinan in season 7 or whatever, it's amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's an incredibly well-written episode.
Well, I actually will say, yeah. I mean, as much as I wasn't that invested in the Wesley subplot, I did find Wesley more realistic. Like, he wasn't this
he wasn't
crazy wonder kid. He was just a normal, 16? I don't know how old he is at this point. But he seemed like he was just a normal person again. He wasn't the wonder kid who saves the day.
I don't have I have a gadget to call Doctor.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like he aged like 10 years over the 3-month break.
Yeah,
He was felt much more mature, much more acting his age than he was last.
I think that if Beverly Crusher had remained off the show, I think the show would have been better. Not that it's great, but I think Wesley would have had a lot more space to grow as a character. Pulaski, obviously, I think Pulaski is a fantastic character. So I think it kind of when they brought her back, I was like, that's too bad.
That's your new nickname, Dr. Pulaski, because you're just.
I don't mind. I like Pulaski. I think she's great. But my favorite scene in the entire episode is when. It's early on. Picard is going into the elevator, the turbo lift. Wesley comes out, sees him go in, and he follows him in. And there's that awkward moment where they're just not talking to each other in the turbo lift. And Picard is like, "Oh, you followed me." I don't know. I always found that funny.
Because he doesn't like kids.
He doesn't like kids.
But I know, but at that point, he should like Wesley. He's had enough time to interact with him, but he's still super awkward.
Well, it's funny because they address that further in the season, and it actually goes on for a couple seasons, and this finally gets kind of resolved in season 4. But I mean, just to get back to the writing, I think the dialogue and the characters are really well written. I think the plot is really bad. And we've been talking about this show for half an hour. We've barely talked about the plot. We've barely talked about Troi being
the immaculate
impregnated by a little light. The little light,
diode.
the light comes in, and it's like there's little jaws dun 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 dun, and goes visits the different.
Did she have to have an orgasm though? Like the moaning? Was that necessary? I feel like that's Gene Roddenberry.
Is that what that was? I thought that was a nightmare.
It seemed like she was enjoying being impregnated by the little light.
Alan, never do that again, ever.
I don't think Alan knows what that actually sounds like.
Yeah. Okay, you can cut that out. But no, it's why couldn't she just wake up and be pregnant? It seems like that feels like a Gene Roddenberry.
She did. She was having a nightmare.
No, it seemed like she was it was feeling good.
No, she was having a bad dream.
It was a shock.
That was maybe your interpretation of it. My interpretation is that she was having a bad dream.
It seemed like she was. It seemed like she was. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Well, let's go to the next scene.
Captain, obviously the pregnancy must be terminated for the safety of the ship and the crew.
Worf, you can't assume the intent was belligerent.
That is the safest assumption.
Where they go, which I always thought it was kind of a weird scene, because on one hand, it becomes a scene about a woman's right to choose to some degree, because everybody's around the table, and especially men, talking about her and what she should do, and Pulaski's being very like scientific and cold about the whole thing, and everybody's kind of being very dissecting it. And at the end, she's like, "I'm having this baby no matter what." And I just kind of was imagining like that scene if she said to Picard, "Do what you must do to protect the ship, Captain, but I'm having this baby." And it cuts to her in the shuttlecraft by herself with the kid. It's like,
I know Worf is all ready to perform an abortion on her. Like,
we must abort her.
Yeah.
But they're having this mini abortion kind of debate right there in the with Worf being, "We must abort the baby," and Data be like, "But it's life. We must explore life." And then Worf is like, "Hey, we can still dissect it when it's dead." I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was rough. But I thought it was a great scene, especially like the way they shot it, right? Like all that conversation was off camera.
It felt a little
right?
cringy.
It was just on.
But do they really need to drag her, medical condition into the boardroom? Like
that does seem strange to me.
More
It's like
appropriate to do it as a
personal-
sick bay and talk to like maybe just the captain. Like, does it have to
Well-
be a whole senior staff meeting?
I think so.
a little
because
light and
it's an
pregnant.
alien. No, because it's like, how could they not talk about it? It's some alien entity that's it's a danger to the ship. They have to talk about it.
I don't know. It
well,
didn't seem-
yeah, but if it's a danger to the
and
ship,
Riker's
then
like
what-
asking inappropriate questions, like, "Who's the daddy?" Like, what does that matter? It's like, really? Is that your business?
Who is the father?
He seemed really jealous like the whole time. It's like, that should be my
Yeah.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Listen,
is
if that baby
Like,
has
I even got the
it's
beard
mine.
now. I'm like, why won't you let me make a baby with you? He seemed kind of creepy the whole time, where he just kind of leaves.
Yeah,
I feel like
What's going on?
I feel like there's an arc. There's an arc in this episode that I detected for the first time, which is Riker's arc is becoming a dad in this episode, because in the beginning of the episode, Troi, gets pregnant, and he's like, "Whoa, who's the father?" And kind of you can see him, going through this whole thing. And at the very end of the episode, when Wesley decides to stay, Picard is like, "Who's going to basically take care? Who's going to be basically this kid's dad?" And then Riker's like, "I'll be his dad." I'm like, "Oh, he just graduated to dad like in the episode." So I think that's his progression.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys notice that too?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, that's what the episode is about, right? It's about parents and kids.
Yes, that's true.
And deadly plasma viruses.
That's
And
right.
the plasma virus, yeah.
So what about? So first of all, I want to say I forget what his name is. The actor, his name is Seymour.
Butts.
No.
Oh, Hester Delt.
Real mature guys.
Hester Delt, like it sounds like a Steven Seagal movie name when he always has
Seymour
weird
Castle.
names.
His name is Seymour Castle. And he's like he's interesting in this episode because he's very different in his acting style from all the other actors. But it's because he comes from independent cinema. He was in with John Cassavetes and that whole crowd. And I really like him in this episode because he kind of he's a little bit of a fresh brush air. He's got a mustache. He comes on, he's like, what's his name? Hester Holt?
Hester Delt. That's a strange name. Hester Delt.
He was like, I'm Hester Delt. It's like, sure, fine, whatever. Let's get this business down to business, and it's just, I love that character.
Well, good. Let's get going.
Excuse me, to whom am I speaking?
To whom are you speaking? I'm Lieutenant Commander Hester Delt, Medical Trustee, Federation Medical Collection Station.
Don't give me grief about my name. I know it's stupid.
But I don't understand. I feel like the virus transportation thing, A, it doesn't really pay off, and B,
doesn't make any sense.
Like it seems very contrived. Like we got to bring these these viruses from A to planet A to planet B. Maybe we'll for some sort of scientific research that maybe it will pay off. Maybe it won't.
Did anybody think it was weird that this is what I didn't make any sense to me when the big climax happened and one of the viruses was growing out of control or whatever because of the radiation from the kid. But he was like, it's like, well, can we just send it out, beam it out into space? And they're like, no, it will turn into a spore and it will like infest the first ship or planet and encounters. I'm like, why don't you just fire the friggin' thing into the sun? Like, why can't you just
But also, you
it?
can just phaser it. You can just
I know, it's like
phaser it.
anything,
It'll
just destroy it. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're
I
just
don't
going to let
know.
it float away like lore and data?
I think it's one of those things where you just have to accept it. Like it doesn't matter.
know,
There's like
but
a
you have to
million
accept
ways
it.
they should.
Little
There's
plot
like a
holes,
million
logic
ways they
holes
could
like that. It
Yeah,
drives
but
me
every
crazy.
episode has it. Every episode has
No.
these little plot
You can't
holes.
keep throwing that. This is your excuse. He's like, oh, all the episodes have these stupid things. It's like, no, they don't.
But they
all
do.
have-
Like hand waving everything away.
100% they do. 100% they do. There's a few that don't. That
Because
are
you think
great,
all the
but-
episodes are like season 1 episodes. They're not. When we take it to season 3, they're not going to have these whole plot holes in them.
Oh no, I disagree. I guarantee every episode will have something that doesn't quite make sense. But you have to take, you have to take it at face value, right? Like they're doing it to add some tension, some drama, to move the plot along. That's fine.
Yeah, but they could have done it better. Is my point. The point is, imagine if they'd done this, right? They had built it up. They go, and when Pulaski says, if any of these viruses get out, everybody on board will be dead in 3 hours, right? And they just get to the point where it's starting to grow and it's gonna like burst out of its containment like in an hour. And then the kid like goes, I must die now to save you all. And then it's the whole thing's resolved. Imagine if they couldn't, they were still trying to figure what it was. And then we knew it was the kid. And then we're going like, it's the kid. And nobody else knows it's the kids. We're just like shouting at the TV. And then it bursts through its containment and everybody gets evacuated to the saucer section. Yes.
The problem is
people start dying and they're like, nah.
No, listen. The problem is none of this makes sense given the technology they have, right? Because all they ever need to do is take the thing, beam it out into space, and blow it up, right? All they ever need to do is use a transporter to get the baby out of Troi, right? She never actually has to give birth, right? Like it's the technology of the universe, makes it a lot easier to do a lot of things, but you can't do those things because then you have a boring show. The answer is always transport it into space, or transport it over this way.
You got to come up with a more clever way to have that climax then, and stop just making plot holes and being lazy.
That's the whole show. That's the whole show. The only way it's going to work is if they get rid of the transporter. If they get rid of like a ton of technology in the show itself, and then it's a different show.
I would have liked the virus to break out in the ship, people start dying, and then the alien realizes that he caused it and revives people and then leaves. That would have been more exciting.
I think it could have been interesting if the kid had like been more full grown or I don't know. They could have had like sort of an nth degree kind of a plot where they're like they don't know if he's evil or not, or he's like Jesus and he's like they think he's evil, but he turns out to be Jesus, and then he goes through the ship and he's like curing people of all the lepers and stuff. Like I think I could have been really cool, but that's not what happened.
That's a whole different episode. It's not even the same thing. You're not taking an episode that exists and slightly rewriting it. You're like, I'm going to write a new episode right from the beginning.
Well, maybe they should have.
Maybe.
But again, this is a recycled script from an old show, so because of a writer's strike, so they had to make do with what it was. Some minor rewrites.
Yeah, so I kind of wonder. I don't know the chronology of the writer's strike in 1988, so I don't know how it affected this particular episode. But I could see how if they dusted off the old script and they basically couldn't really do a lot of things with it, and that's kind of what happened throughout the second season to some extent, where they can.
I think they probably just dusted off like the premise. They would have had to have rewritten it like a ton of times.
Yeah, there's obviously some stuff, like obviously the Wesley stuff and stuff wouldn't have been in phase 2, but
well, none of the characters, right? All those characters are different, right? To some degree. Like I think they just took like the nugget, like here's the premise of the episode, and then rewrote it for the show.
But I guess what I'm saying is that those kind of later drafts that would have worked out the kinks that we're complaining about, that Alan and I are complaining about, maybe they didn't have time to work out those kinks because of the writer's strike and something.
Maybe, but also like the point isn't really the virus of the episode, right? Like the virus is not the point. The virus is just like part of the dramatic engine. The point is to reintroduce the crew, the characters, and have this like thing happen with with
So
Troi.
you can set it up, and then General Zod can show up in the next episode to.
Yeah, it's fine. It would still have been good.
They could have reintroduced
Yeah,
everyone and had a
exactly.
compelling plot too.
Yeah, they could have. It's true. I agree with that one. They totally could have done that. Well,
I don't know, man. This episode did a lot of work. I'm willing to cut them some slack.
Well, that's
Okay,
what
so-
I
but
think
what do
is
you-
my. I'm just
Go
saying
ahead.
that's kind of my problem with the episode is that I mean it looks good and it works, it's fine, it's perfectly serviceable Star Trek episode, but at the same time it's overstuffed for the runtime. I feel like when they had the ending with the kid dying, and I didn't feel any emotion at that because I didn't feel like we spent enough time with Ian to really have him interact with the crew. Like there's little things like, oh, hi Captain Picard, do you want to have dinner with me? Do you know what a puppy is? And there's like these little tiny scenes, but it wasn't enough. There wasn't enough of that for me to be emotionally invested in his eventual death and sacrifice or whatever. I didn't find
the other thing
that
is,
there was any emotional payoff. It all just felt like there wasn't enough development for me to care.
I don't know if you're necessarily supposed to feel sad because if he dies, nothing's going to happen, right? Because he's already been like
Troi is super sad, and there's music, and I feel like I should feel something, but I don't.
Well, Troy's sad because the baby entity, the little alien thing, is leaving her. Like, there's never any sort of doubt that that thing is going to survive.
The point is
Could've.
that if I'm watching this stuff to feel some sort of emotion of some kind, and the child dies, everybody's crying, this whatever, and I don't care. And that's the bottom line is I really don't care.
Maybe, but I've never felt like sad or traumatized while watching a Star Trek episode.
No, but that's
not even
so I would like to
Well, but that's what I'm saying.
And
Like
Lucas probably knows this about me. Is like I watch Voyager's Real Life with the Doctor's holographic family, and every time the Doctor's holographic daughter dies at the end, I start crying because that's such a powerful scene, and it's so well done. That
is okay. I will give you that. That's great.
But the whole episode builds up to that. Like we spend so much time with the Doctor's holographic family that you get invested with them. You see their relationships, but this here it just felt like there's ABC plot. They're trying to service all these plots. There's too much, and you don't really get to know Ian that much to care. So,
but I just don't think that was the point of this episode. Like the
it's literally called the
Voyager
child.
Episode,
we're supposed to care about the child.
Well, we're not necessarily supposed to care if the child leaves. Right, like the child could also be Wesley Crusher.
Well,
right,
the
like the child is like a metaphor within the episode.
The child.
I'm just saying, like that's not the
But
you want this emotional payoff from this episode, but it's not designed to do that.
I feel like they tried to do that and it didn't work.
I don't necessarily think so because it's obviously not building up to that, right? Like the Voyager episode you're talking about, the whole episode was built up to that one moment. So it pays off that way. It's supposed to. But this episode is not that. It's an intro to the season with some really cool sci-fi ideas and a way to get you invested emotionally in the characters again. And I think it does that really well.
Well, the problem also is that the child actor sucks. And it's like they gotta learn to like less is more. If you had that little kid go, "Hello, Captain," and that's all he said, it'd be way more creepy than if he did that. Don't worry, everything is going to be okay. And he's like, you just ruined the moment right there. And then he's and then when the older version like burns itself, he's like, "Ow, ow, ow, mommy."
It's a delayed reaction too, where it's like, how are you feeling? Oh, I was like, you've had that finger in the soup for like 2 seconds now, and then now you're just reacting. I'm like,
I was like, just stop.
Wasn't the best acting, no, but it's a kid, so you gotta forgive him.
Yeah, exactly. That kid is now traumatized by everybody criticizing his acting.
Yeah, be like Jake Lloyd now. Just his life's off the rails because nerds are making fun of him.
Exactly. Now that's pod racing.
Well, nobody's gonna remember. Nobody will remember. Come on, guys. Nobody's gonna remember this kid. Nobody's like, this guy's like he's like a famous plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, he's like an insurance adjuster.
He's
in
doing
Wyoming.
Well, maybe if we didn't mercilessly criticize his acting, he'd be a famous actor right now.
Yeah, maybe he would be Brad Pitt.
Could be.
I guess, Namir, you were fine with the way the episode resolved. You're like, the kid dies and the virus doesn't kill everybody, and you're like, we're done.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. It made sense to me. The kid doesn't die. The little entity thing leaves.
Isn't there a body?
Probably did like laying on that plastic pillow that he had.
No. He turns into sparkles. It's kind of like the ending of the motion picture. He ascends. Oh, and he goes to see the panda. Maybe he's a little panda.
The koala.
Jesus.
What is the difference between a panda and a koala? Really? Like, is there
quite a bit of difference.
Yeah, there's a lot of difference.
Size, first of all.
Huge difference. And the country of origin, second of all. Color.
Yep, who's that? Color.
Diet. The way they look. Everything. I think a koala is a marsupial.
The way they spell their names is different. They both have 5 letters. That's true. There's similarities in there, I think.
Yeah, there's a little bit. That's true. Yeah, they do have.
But yeah, maybe he meant the space koala. I did I don't know how to do that too, but it was cool how the blanket like laid back down after he ascended. I don't know. It was a cool effect anyway. I like that. And then I laughed at the plastic pillow. I'm like, that pillow looks really uncomfortable. I'm like, why would you want to wear that?
All the pillows look uncomfortable on Star Trek.
I know. They're like a foot high. They're like this high. Oh, you can't sleep on that.
This pillow had like a plastic covering or something. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It was weird.
Maybe they had to return it to Sleep Country.
Don't break the seal. I had the receipt.
And who will tuck him in at night?
Come on, Commander.
I will accept that responsibility.
Well, we know he'll get his sleep.
So how does the episode end? Oh, the episode ends when Crusher, Wesley Crusher is like, I want to stay on board. And then
Worf's going to tuck him in at night and read him a bedtime story and give him a good night kiss.
That was great.
A little snuggie. Oh,
that's great.
I said that's a scene missing. We should see Worf just tucking him into bed. Bring him some more milk and a story. Checking for monsters in the closet.
He's like the guy from There Will Be Blood. Puts like rum in his milk. Did you never see that, Lucas? Oh.
Is it called Star Trek? Is it part of Star Trek?
I just don't understand you.
There's a deleted scene in this episode where Data identifies himself by first and middle name to the computer, but we don't see it in the episode because it's in that deleted scene.
What? Really?
Data?
What's his middle name?
His first name is NFN and the middle name is NMI. And what? NFN means no first name, and NMI means no middle initial.
Oh, that's interesting.
So Data's his last name, and I'm just reading. Where is it? It's somewhere over there. But I'm reading the Encounter at Farpoint novelization, and in the book, Picard asks him about his name, and Data says, "Oh, I picked that name," and he explains like the reasoning why he picked the name, which is that Data is knowledge, and I believe in knowledge and this sort of stuff. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. That's why I like reading the novelizations. So, a little trivia. Are you guys ready to do your ratings?
I guess so.
Yes. Yeah.
There's nothing else to talk about, so we can go to the ratings.
Yeah, I was just thinking. Yep, nothing else. Nothing else.
Koalas? No.
Koalas? No.
Birth scene. Birth scene.
Yeah.
The birth scene was interesting. You know.
That was cool.
Actually,
That was a real
looked
baby.
really good. Yeah, like the baby had some stuff on it. Like sometimes they come out
Mhm.
clean, like and they're already like 6 months old. But this one looked like an actual newborn with umbilical cords, some amniotic fluids and stuff. So
Yeah. Sometimes the
it was
baby
nice.
has teeth, and you're like, that baby's too old.
That was a nice moment for that was a nice moment for Data, like to be involved in that. I did like that scene. Like it was,
Yeah.
more of his growth as a, getting experienced human, or Betazoid birth, whatever.
And I like the moment between Riker and Troi as well, where he kind of tucked in the back and watched, and then came in and they had a little moment.
Kind of watching creepily from around the corner.
I know, exactly.
Lovingly,
He's like,
lovingly. He loves her.
Let's see if this baby has a beard. It's just let's see what this is my own personal paternity test.
That baby is bald.
And it's speaking French with an English accent.
I know. Picard says "grand" several times. I'm like, do French people say "grand"?
No,
it's like a British thing.
It's a British thing.
Yeah.
There's no more. There's gonna be no more French. There's gonna be no more merde and all that kind of stuff.
Not till Star Trek Picard.
Mama.
Oh, don't even get me started. Okay, ratings. Namir, your rating for this episode: 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Yeah, I like I said, I liked it. I think it did a really good job. I understand that there's problems with it, but I think for a first episode of a season, I think it was really well done. It looked amazing. It was well written. The plot was possibly a little dicey, but I think everything that was positive about it overshadowed, that aspect. So I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Okay, Alan.
Decimals. Yeah, I mean, it's a marked, like you watch this, it's a marked improvement visually. It's a lot more stunning than the first season. The actors feel more comfortable in their roles. We're seeing everyone in their familiar positions now. It's just generally it's an improvement over first season. But did it have the excitement level that I want to see out of a season premiere? No. So I would probably give this one like a 6. There's so much better stuff to come, and this is perfectly fine episode, but it's a middle of the road one for me. But yeah, I'd give it a 6 out of 10.
I will give this one a 5 out of 10, but because Geordi gets promoted to chief engineer, and it gets a 6 out of 10. And so it's a 6 out of 10 for all the reasons I said. It looks really great. They put a lot of money on it. The acting is great. The characters are behave well and are interesting in the human interaction part of it, but the plot is sucks, and the kid actor sucks too. So
I had a laugh too, where it's like they went through all this like danger of having this virus containment unit on board. It's like at the very end, it's like, so do you think you'll be able to create a vaccine of this? I don't know, maybe. And then he beams away. He folds his arms.
Hester dealt out.
It's like, yeah. It's like, what was the point of this then? It seems like they seem like, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't.
I think he should have said like, oh, in here, there's nothing in here. It was just, it's just a joke. Don't worry about it.
Like it explodes, but it's confetti.
Yes, exactly. This is rice. I'm going down planet to have sushi now.
Yeah, it seemed kind of pointless in the end.
So we'll be back next week with one of my favorite episodes from season 2, where silence has lease.
Yes.
And
I love that one. Maybe. Oh, spoiler alert. I'll probably give it high marks.
Okay. That's good. I'm going to stop the recording.
Like and subscribe.
Just where in the future, the things we've done instead. Let's just push the button, we'd be better off dead. 'Cause all